definitely, obviously, growing up in our household, Punjabi was the first language spoken, and it's what you hear in your ears, you become accustomed to, and it's not something that you think about. It just is, right?
It just happens,
It's your normal. But what I was doing initially was, at the same time as trying to run away from my background and my culture and whatnot, all those elements, I wasn't bringing anything unique to hip hop music. You know, my parents have featured in a couple of music videos.
Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of the Don't Talk Back podcast, where us brown kids talk back just the right amount. I'm your host Khushee, and today we have a very special guest with us today. Born in the sunny streets of Liverpool to a Sikh family, we have one of the most prominent hip-hop figures in the country. So please join me in welcoming Sukhdeep Singh Bogle to the podcast, otherwise also known as El Fresh the Lion.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
All good. So before we move on, I just wanted to ask you, how do we refer to you? Do you prefer El Fresh, the Lion, or Sukhdeep? Which do you prefer?
El Fresh is fine, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. So tell us behind your stage name. What made you come up with this one?
It's a bit of a journey coming up with the name. I guess when I started making music, I was in high school. I was like 13, 14 years old. I wasn't sure that this was like going to become what it became, but I got to a point where I was ready to share what I was making with at least my friends. And when I shared my music with my friends, I was getting a lot of good feedback. And one of my close friends just kept saying, you know, it's fresh, it's fresh, it's fresh. And when I figured out that I kind of wanted to start posting online as well, I needed a stage name. I felt like I needed one anyway. And so I took Fresh and I used the name Fresh MC. That was the first name I had.
Yeah.
And Fresh for me, inspired by many like hip hop artists from back in the day who some of their names were acronyms. I made Fresh an acronym to give it a definition that suited my story. And so for me, Fresh is forever rising, exceeding sudden hardships, which is why it's always in caps. And that to me is my, I guess, definition of just being fresh, being ready. And it speaks to where I was at the time. I think 13, 14 years old in school, really battling, like juggling identity and where I fit, where I belong, and dealing with a whole bunch of situations. I always felt like I had to push back, like, you know, talk back, fight back.
Yeah.
And so that acronym speaks to just trying to always maintain that resilience. L came in later. It went from Fresh MC to L Fresh. L came in later, and I wanted to include, I guess, an element of, you know, like culture in it and faith in it, like from what I know, and Sing being lion, I put the L in there to make it L Fresh. And I got to a point where I was performing a bit more, and I kind of felt like, and I tried to incorporate the lion imagery in the performances, like we would include lion sounds in the performance at certain points. I felt that though, if people went home and tried to find me online, and if they didn't remember the name and they searched like lion rapper Sydney or something like that, they wouldn't find me.
Yeah.
It was too subtle. And then I was like, hip hop's not subtle, it's in your face. So I need to make it more prominent, so it became El Fresh the Lion.
Oh wow, it's been a journey.
It's been a journey, yeah. It wasn't just like wake up the next morning and this is the name. It's definitely been a journey.
I love that. And you grew up listening to the likes of Tupac, who himself used to base his music off his surroundings and his heritage as well. So being a linguistically diverse person, you're having to speak our mother tongue, which I'm guessing for you is Punjabi.
Correct, yeah.
And then English at school. How would you say your Indian heritage affects, first of all, who you are, but also how you go about your work?
It's an interesting question, and like my using language as a way of kind of unpacking this question is an interesting one too, because I definitely, obviously, growing up in our household, Punjabi was the first language spoken, and it's what you hear in your ears, you become accustomed to, and it's not something that you think about. It just is, right?
It just happens.
It's your normal. As I got older, I started going to school. You know, obviously English comes in, and at a certain point, I couldn't tell you exactly when and what specific experiences led to. I had like many, I guess, people from cultural backgrounds, many experiences of dealing with racism, discrimination, bullying, whatever you want to call it. And very much so, language and my culture became a thing that I associated with that because that was what was being targeted. And so I tried to distance myself from it initially at a certain point.
Yeah.
Because I felt that was what was bringing that unwanted
Yeah,
attention to me.
I think every brown kid has almost gone through that at one point because it gets feeded into you so much that, oh, like your hair smells like oil, or, you know, like bringing leftover curry over to school, that smells. Like you try to sort of shy away and everything, so I completely get where you're coming from.
For me, it was like, if I look back at it now, it's like your culture's not viewed as cool, and so therefore you want to be cool as a kid, right?
Yeah.
Like you want to be in and amongst it. So I kind of disassociated with that, and then so language was lost. I lost my fluency and connection with Punjabi language, and it's only as I got older that I realized how important it is, and wanting to tap back into it. And really, music was the catalyst for me, and hip hop music especially, because I guess hip hop's cool as a kid, and that's something you gravitate towards. Like I gravitated towards the stories in it, as you mentioned, like with Tupac, like his messages really resonated with me, and there were so many common themes, even though I could not relate to his experiences of being an African American male growing up in that context, and especially in the backdrop of, for him, his mother being so prominent in the civil rights movements as well, and that's the context that birthed hip hop. So I could relate to these themes of, you know, community under, you know, facing marginalization, oppression, discrimination, even though the experiences were very different. But that gave me a sense of empowerment because I'm like, if these guys are doing it in music and it's coming across in a way where everybody wants to listen to it, everyone's messing with it, it's cool, then why can't I do that for me?
For sure.
But what I was doing initially was, at the same time as trying to run away from my background and my culture and whatnot, all those elements, I wasn't bringing anything unique to hip hop music. And that was the thing I learned early on. Hip hop respects and appreciates originality and authenticity.
Yeah.
So if I'm not being authentic to who I am, then how can I be in this space?
Yeah.
So music was a catalyst for me to tap back in, and really just continued my journey of wanting to know more about who I am, my family's story, my family's migration story, some of, you know, what brought them here, what their experiences like, and seeing what was around me growing up in Southwest Sydney, Liverpool and Campbelltown, is like, you see people from all walks of life, and I love that. All my friends are from all different backgrounds, you name it, you know, like that was my group. And so just seeing all of that as our day to day, that started to inform the music, started to inform the songs. And inevitably, it's just a blend of me and who I am and all the influences that make up me, including my cultural background, but not only my cultural background.
Yeah.
It's been a journey in music. I think that's becoming a bit of a key word, you know, like so far in our conversation. But definitely, it's going back to your question, it's a key part of who I am, my culture, my language, where I'm from, and my family's story, and that inevitably comes across in the music.
And when we're talking about music, I also want to say that music in our culture, I guess, if you think about the stereotypical thinking, it's not considered the most ideal career for us. You know, our parents look at something like, okay, lawyer, doctor, engineer, you know, like the ones that have good scope in them. So how has the journey been from, you know, like obviously telling your parents this is what you want to pursue, and you also initially started out with mentoring vulnerable youth. So what's been the journey like from that stage to now?
I understand where it comes from. Like, your parents want what's best for you.
Yeah.
And I think when I realized that it wasn't necessarily about my parents trying to force me to be something I didn't want to be, but when I understood that that's all they know, and that ultimately it's coming from a place of love and wanting for you to have a life that they have worked so hard to try to establish here, acknowledging all the sacrifices they made. Once I realized that, then I stopped fighting with them about what I wanted to do versus what they expected me to do. And I tried to walk with them on this path and show them, like, this is what I see and this is the world that I'm trying to create. Because they can only, I guess, recommend what they know.
Yeah,
if
so
they
like
don't,
meeting them halfway sort of.
if they don't know what you're trying to do,
Yeah.
and you expect them to know that, then there's going to be conflict, inevitably.
Yeah, no, that's a very good point, yeah.
So it's like, okay, well, at least when I was coming up especially, it definitely hadn't been done before, from especially the lane that I was going down.
Yeah.
Like in hip-hop music, being a very visibly Sikh background, and making music that had really strong messages. So I wasn't trying to make songs that was like flashy in any way. It wasn't like what you see or what you know of, I guess, commercially successful hip hop, generally speaking, right? The stereotype of it. So I wasn't trying to do any of that. And also, I'm not trying to make, I lost fluency with Punjabi, so I'm not making Punjabi music, which is also can be quite, extravagant and show offy as well. There's that bravado in it too. So I wasn't trying to do that, but their only connections with music or understanding of music was, in terms of what I was trying to do, was that successful Punjabi music scene, and also the old school, folk Punjabi music, which is real, deep.
Yeah.
And then you have like their stereotypical view of what like Western music is or what hip hop is, and not that they were engaging with it in any way, shape, or form in any meaningful way.
Yeah.
And music in, I guess, films they were watching, like if it was Hindi music or Punjabi songs in films they were watching, or kirtan, Sikh, traditional worship music.
Yeah.
So they had no understanding of what it was that I was trying to do. So inevitably there was going to be a clash. And once I realized, after years of trying to win them over, was appreciating the support they showed for me in at least developing this as a hobby.
Yeah.
Because they were very supportive of like helping me get gear, helping me get CDs made,
lovely.
buying me equipment, because they viewed it as like, this is like a healthy hobby that he has while he's doing school. Like it's cool, like whatever.
Yeah.
But when I got to a certain point where I was like, okay, now I'm going to pursue this as a career, I feel like I have what it takes. At that point, I also learned after a couple of years that I need to educate them on what this journey is.
Yeah.
And let me bring you into my world and let me show you. And so once that kind of happened, it was less of a conflict and more of a just sharing and an exchange. And it's been great. Like, my parents have featured in a couple of music videos, and
I love that.
One that I'm working on at the moment, my dad's like the star of the video.
Oh, wow. He's having his star moment.
Yeah, for sure. And it's just great to be able to include them on that journey.
I love that. And you also mentioned that it's very different what you do from stereotypical rap songs. So I think a lot of hip hop songs these days are about things like money, cars, alcohol, illegal substances, all of that. But your work seems to be very, very different from that. So are you able to walk me through what message you hope to show your audiences through your music?
I can only speak what I know, and that's not my lifestyle, so I don't want to portray that. And that's not the type of music that inspires me either.
Yeah.
The type of music that inspires me is stuff that, certainly hits you in the heart, stuff that moves you, things that have a story and a resonance. Like some of those topics might come into it, but there's a context. And if I can appreciate the context, then I can really mess with the music. So I'm really trying to create music that makes people feel something.
Yep.
I don't claim to present answers to any complex problems in the music. I don't necessarily want to try and be a representation of, this, that, or the other. I just want to make music that makes people think and feel, and let them attach meaning to it for what it means to them, and just tell stories. Ultimately, as I've gotten older, I feel like that's become my role. It's just to be a storyteller. Music is the main medium, but then around that, there's so many other opportunities that pop up, like having this conversation with you. Again, it's an opportunity just to tell stories. So I feel like that's the space. That's how I see myself as an artist and a storyteller, and that's what I want to do in music.
Yeah, lovely. And I think that's what it should be about as well at the end of the day, instead of just following, what's trending and what other people can relate to. I think you can get the real stuff out when you write about what you're going through.
Sure.
And you've also got a regular gig at the ABC, which is massive. Many congratulations for that.
Thank you.
It's really great to see, especially, like a fellow Indian musician get that kind of a platform. So are you able to tell me what that experience has been like for you, and what do you think it means for younger South Asians who are obviously, listening and they see someone like themselves in you?
Yeah, that's completely random, like so new as well. It just kind of popped up from conversation, and I'd been on ABC Radio Sydney a bunch of times over the course of my career, and it's always been a good experience kind of being able to perform or share or have an interview. And just got a call from them, from the team who do mornings, and they were like, presented me an idea of what they were trying to do. They wanted to have someone come in and just share, I guess, how they perceive things happening in Sydney and wanting to recommend things in and around Sydney, around arts and culture.
Yeah.
And that's my space. That's my happy place. So I'm like, for sure, I'm keen. I'm down. Like, let's try it out and see how it goes. So it's just been over a month, and it's been really cool. Like, just cool conversations to have on air to, I guess, and be on a platform where maybe, you know, South Asian stories are not front of mind all the time.
Yeah.
And I think that's important. Like, I guess now, as we're, especially younger generations, like the younger generation have what maybe the previous generations didn't have, which is a very much so grounded in being from Australia and identifying as being Australian, but also being able to communicate, right, very clearly and very eloquently, and they have the skill set too. So there's so many opportunities that I feel like next generation is going to be able to realize that previous generations haven't been able to. The opportunities weren't there for them, and they weren't afforded the space. I think now we're still having to fight for space and claim space, and, you know, which is why it's great you're building a platform here with your podcast, right? Like, it's claiming space when space has not been afforded to us. And I think that's really important, because that's the next evolution, is like how we just occupy as we are in entertainment, TV, film, whatever it might be, music, just being ourselves and not the stereotype. I think that's really, really important, because we do get kind of put in just typecast, stereotypical positions, thinking that that's a representation of us, and it's a representation. It's not the representation. It's not the representation, and it's not a real complete representation.
Yeah,
like,
definitely.
I love seeing, for example, on ABC, a friend of mine's on Gruen, and she's just on the panel. You know, it's like she's allowed to just be her, and it's her opinions. It has nothing to do with the fact that she's, you know, brown, South Asian, you know, whatnot. She's just there, and that's her expertise, and she's able to share and chit chat and be on that panel. Yeah, it's like the more we have, seeing Maria Thattel, for example, on screens, on TV screens, on morning breakfast, like all that stuff is important. Nazim, it's really, really important. And I think that's going to come more and more for the next generation. So for younger people, it's like, don't be shy. Your time's now. Like, dream it and then make it happen.
Yeah, no, definitely. And it's funny you mentioned that as well, because that was my next question. Over the last few years, we've seen so much of India front and center, even in mainstream media. For example, if you see Shah Rukh Khan at the Met Gala, there were so many South Asians there today, even though it's not like the form of being like, oh, I made it, like, oh, I made it to the Met Gala or whatever, but it's still exposure, because a lot of mainstream media is there, and getting that sort of recognition on that platform is wonderful. And we also see singers like Diljit Dosanjh. He's doing amazing. He's been doing so many collabs with Western artists like Sia, Ed Sheeran, and all of that. So I think you've briefly talked about this, but how does it make you feel now that Indian pop culture outside of Bollywood is finally getting the respect and recognition it deserves? And do you find that it has impacted your career in a way? Like, have you experienced that?
Yeah, look, it's a really interesting one. There's a couple ways to like unpack it, right? Like, on one level is like our stars are stars, whether they don't need validation from the West to still be stars, right? Yeah. But I guess for us it means something. Like, living in Australia, when you see people,
we're like so surrounded by it.
Yeah, like people who, and it's an excitement thing when you're able to talk to friends, family, or like even random people who may not have been, who are not tapped in, but they've seen someone from your community or someone who looks like you and they're a star. They're like, oh, I just discovered such and it's awesome to be able to have those conversations, right? Like, well, let me put you onto this now. Let me introduce you to this, you know? So I think that's really cool. It definitely gives, like, for us living in the West, it gives us confidence, right? It gives us the ability to be to dream bigger and to be like, okay, well, now doors have been broken down. We've been fighting so hard to break down these doors, and now it's like, okay, we're getting there. Yeah. So I there's definitely a flow-on effect, because sometimes people, you know, I guess outsiders from our community, like outside of our community, sometimes they have to see it to understand what it is that we're saying. And if they don't see it, then they just don't get it, right? And unfortunately, sometimes it's like, it doesn't matter how many times we tell them, it takes for a superstar for them to understand the potential. Yeah. it's unfortunate, but it's a reality, right? People want to go where there's attention, where dollars can be made, and so on and so forth. And the superstars bring that.
For sure.
But yeah, it's an interesting conversation. I'd like to see like more. It's in the Australian context, like more of that. I feel like we're yet to get there yet. Like in the UK and Canada and North America, we're seeing like on the front page of like music magazines, like the next wave of music talent, and it's all like stars of the Punjabi music scene coming out of Canada. You know,
Yeah,
like that's huge.
definitely.
Or when you see the way in which, Dee, who's an artist from Sydney.
Yeah, she's from here. She sang with Diljit Dosanjh in a song.
Well, she did that song, Enjoy and Jammi, which was put up by A.R. Rahman's label. That's was really about trying to amplify and put a spotlight on the music talent from South India. And that was like, that song blew up. That was huge. I remember playing it to so many people, and people from outside of our community, like from outside, Indian communities and South Asians generally had come across that song and were like, whoa, like this is amazing. So like, it's cool to see some more of those moments happen.
Yeah, definitely. And when you mentioned that, it gives you like a point of relevance with your friends. I'll tell you a funny story. So when Shah Rukh Khan went to Met Gala, he wore a necklace that said K. I think it was for King. And I recently went to India and got one for myself because my name starts with K. That was the only...
Right.
Sort of inspiration behind getting that. And one of my friends, she's not South Asian. She goes, "Did you get that because that guy at the Met Gala was wearing it?" I was like, funny you say that. I didn't think you'd know, but that's not it. So it's like, it gives you something to talk about, and it gives you something to share with them about your culture, which you wouldn't get otherwise. So another thing I want to ask you is, you're currently working on, as you said, a new music video that your dad's the star in. But I also saw on your Instagram that you mentioned that you're looking for some video submissions from people of the community. And I'll read this out because I think this is perfect the way you've worded it on your social media. So you say you want the new song to be about pushing back against the normalization of hate, racism and xenophobia that South Asian communities continue to face, both online and in real life. And it's about showing the strength and beauty in our day-to-day lives. So I think that's really beautiful the way you've worded it. But are you able to walk me through the inspiration behind the song, what it means to you personally, and how you hope the video, especially with community involvement, is going to portray that message?
Yeah, the song is called No Lie. And when I wrote it a couple years ago, it was very much just born from a sense of, I guess, frustration in, I guess, what we've been talking about. Having to always kind of combat stereotypes and having to constantly educate people or deal with racism and hate and stuff like that many other people, especially in my like peers in the scene, wouldn't have to experience that. And I also feel like for South Asian communities, our stories are often invisible. And our people are often invisible. And I feel like a lot of that has to do with the normalization of like stereotypes that are common to our community. So for example, and those stereotypes are very much so like bound to seeing us in roles of servitude. So for example, cab driver, Uber, 7-Eleven, whatever call centers, security, you name it. And so we're not seen, but when we're seen, it's in those roles of like, we're there to help you get from A to B, or to serve you in some way, shape or form. Yeah. And so it's lesser. And that's just been normalized. And so like there's a frustration there that comes from that. And then when you then, like in my shoes, if you get offered opportunities to be in TV or be in whatever, it's like, those are the roles you get offered because they don't see you as anything but that. Yeah. So the song was very much so a frustration about that, and it's wanting to kind of just vent about that, but also speak to the spirit of what is common within our communities, especially at the generation of people who have recently arrived. The energy around hustle, work, and having to establish yourself, which many of those that gets unseen, that work is unseen. but that is so vital and important in the establishing of people's lives here, not just for them, but they're doing it with the future in mind. They're setting foundations for next generations, and that's something so, honorable to think about. It's not coming from a place of like, I'm doing this for me. I'm doing this for family, for friends, for
100%.
like for those who are to come next, for my future generation who I don't even know is going to come yet, but I'm doing it for them.
Yeah.
So it's a very honorable thing, and I wanted to kind of speak to that and showcase that. And the key line in the song is, I'm going to paint a picture that's too brown for you to see.
I love
It's
that.
like, I want to show you these stories, the people. And so hence why I put a call out, because I'm like, I will show a representation of my family story through my dad, who's the main character, and you see him in the video, but it's not the representation. To be, and not even limiting it to people of Punjabi background or being from India, I wanted to open it up to the whole South Asian diaspora, because it's like we all, even though we're all so different, so diverse, even just within India, so diverse, but across the South Asian diaspora, it's like, but we all deal with the same stereotypes. We all deal with the same invisibility. And so I put an open call out and got some amazing submissions. People just sent through, like, across, people from all different countries, different parts of India.
Wow.
It's really beautiful, and it's I've got to go home and finish it today because the song comes out in a couple of days. And
Oh wow, looking forward to it.
I wanna really get it out there. It's just real. It's just us as we are.
It's as real as it gets.
important.
Yeah, no, that sounds amazing. I can't wait to watch it. So that brings us to the last part of our podcast. I don't know if you've seen any of our previous ones, but we have a little rapid fire section that we do in true Desi humor. Unfortunately, I don't have a hamper to give you, sadly, but I promise it's fun. So it's just going to be, again, quick questions. You've got to say whatever comes to mind first. Let me know when you're ready and we'll go.
Yeah, let's hit it.
Okay, perfect. What's more intense, going on stage or seeing missed calls on your phone from your parents?
Oh, missed calls, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. Depending on the time of day too, what
Oh,
when
yeah.
the missed call comes in.
And if it's from both, it's like dad 2, mum 4, and it's like,
Yeah.
they think I'm dead.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you could change one thing about the world, what would it be?
Oh, man. Too much ego. Not enough humility.
Yeah, that's interesting. We've never had that before.
Too much talking, not enough listening.
Yeah. No, that actually is a big thing. People don't say it enough, but that's a big problem. If you could have a conversation with a celebrity, living or deceased, who would it be and why?
Oh, okay. The first person, I'm going with first person, and because the name came up in interviews, Tupac. Be cool just to have a conversation.
For sure.
Definitely.
For sure. Nice. And a Desi dessert that never gets the respect it deserves.
Oh, ras malai.
Ras malai?
Hands down. Yeah, ras malai. Like, that's my favorite, and there's a very beautiful story to that. It's my grandmother used to make the best ras malai.
Oh, yeah.
And, she passed away going on 10, 15 plus years now. And every time I see it on the menu, I'm going to order it. It never hits the same.
Yeah, no, I can't beat what they used to make.
No. Well, ras malai for sure.
Yeah, no, ras malai is definitely not given the respect it deserves. It's it's as good as it gets.
Yeah.
And what's the most Punjabi thing you've ever done, whether that be, in public or with your friends?
Most Punjabi thing, that's a tough one. It's got to be at some point doing Bhangra, I guess, on stage.
Yeah.
Or bringing Bhangra dancers, having a toll on stage. That's very much Punjabi.
But like Bhangra is it's so fun.
Yeah.
Anyone can do it.
Yeah.
It's so good.
100%.
What's your style of writing music? Are you somebody who pulls all-nighters or wakes up early or just goes with the flow? What's your sort of go-to style?
Every song is different. I guess, they might all start in a similar place, but they all take different journeys. So some might be like I start late at night and then I just have to finish it. I have to keep going because it's just a flow. You forget about sleep. Other times it's first thing in the morning and, it's like your 9 to 5, you clock in and you start working on it and then you get to a certain point, you're like, I'm done for the day. But yeah, every song is different.
Every song is different, yeah. And this is our last question. So just for context, so as I said before, I'm North Indian from Chandigarh and my co-host Ranesh, he is South Indian from Kerala. And we always have a bit of a back and forth about which cuisine is superior. So we thought we'd put it to our guests to sort of break the tie. And last season, sadly, South Indian won, but I'm hoping that the bias is going to help me this time.
Yeah.
So I'm going to ask you today, what would you rather, a dosa or a paratha?
That's a tough question because if I had to pick a dish from like a South Indian dish that I love, it's going to be dosa. But paratha, you can't be paratha.
You can't.
And for me, I've got a weird paratha preference compared to other people. It's either gobi or muli paratha.
Together?
I prefer. No,
Oh.
either or.
Either or, okay.
Aloo
Not
sabzi is
aloo?
the classic. I'll smash an aloo paratha any day of the week. But if I'm picking between the three, I'm probably going to go gobi or muli just because they just hit different.
Do you like the crunch? Is that why?
Yeah. 100%.
Right, because my sister's the same. We'd all be eating aloo ke parathe and she'd be eating, no, I'll have muli. And my mom would be like, we don't have muli. And she'd be like, I don't want any of that. I'm like, aloo ke parathe, come on. Yeah. But I do get where you're coming from. So that's one point. First point of the season for parathe, but we got it. We got it. Thank you so much for being here today. We really appreciate it.